All right, let's talk about something that so many of us get stuck in: overthinking. That endless, exhausting loop that can just take over your brain. But what if I told you it's not a personality trait? It's just a habit, and you can absolutely change it. To kick things off, let's dive into a scene that might feel, well, a little too real. So picture this. It always starts with something so small, right? An email from your boss, a one-word text from a friend. There's no context, no details. In your mind, it just takes off like a rocket. For the next 48 hours, you are stuck in this spiral, replaying every tiny mistake you think you've ever made. You can't focus, you can't sleep. You're absolutely convinced you're getting fired. And then, of course, the meeting happens. And guess what? It's about a promotion. All of that anxiety, all that worry, it was for nothing. You feel this huge wave of relief, and then, just as quickly, a new thought pops in. Why was I so stupid for worrying so much? And boom, the cycle just starts all over again. Does any of this sound even remotely familiar?
Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. This whole cycle actually has a name. It's called rumination. That's the technical term for this repetitive, totally unproductive loop of thoughts. The key word there is unproductive. You see, this isn't problem solving. It's just spinning your mental wheels and getting nowhere.
And the word itself? It's actually kind of gross, but super accurate. It literally means chewing the cud. Like a cow brings up old food to chew on it again and again. That's exactly what our minds do. They regurgitate the same thoughts, chewing them over and over and over, but we never actually digest them or get any resolution.
And look, this is not some rare thing. The numbers are wild. Research shows that a staggering 73% of people between the ages 25 and 35 chronically overthink. So if this is you, you're not an outlier, you're actually in the majority. But that doesn't mean you have to stay there.
Okay, so who cares, right? A little worry, what's the big deal? Well, it turns out this mental loop isn't just a little annoying, it's actively harmful. Let's dig into why thinking more almost always makes things much, much worse. I mean, this isn't just about feeling stressed. We're talking about serious stuff here. Rumination is directly linked to major issues like anxiety and depression. It totally paralyzes your ability to make decisions. It can absolutely wreck your sleep because your brain just refuses to switch off. And maybe worst of all, it leads to stagnation. You're so busy thinking about the problem that you never ever take action to actually solve it. And this right here, this is the key distinction. We have to know when we've crossed the line from useful thinking to just spinning out. Productive problem solving, that's all about what you can control. It leads to action. Overthinking, on the other hand, obsesses over things you can't control, and it just leaves you feeling helpless. One is specific and has an endpoint. The other is a vague, endless loop of misery. Learning to spot that difference is everything. So, if it's so damaging, why on earth do we keep doing it? Well, it's because our brains are getting tricked by these, let's call them false rewards. For a split second, overthinking gives us this illusion of control. We think if we just worry about it enough, we can analyze it from every angle and achieve perfection. We fool ourselves into thinking all this mental churning is work, when really it's just an elaborate way to avoid the scary, uncomfortable feeling of uncertainty. Okay, so how do we actually break out of this trap? It really boils down to two things to start with: developing awareness and then creating some really clear boundaries for these thoughts. Step one, and this is going to sound way too easy, but trust me, it's a game changer. The second you catch yourself in that spiral, just name it. You can even say it out loud. Okay, I'm overthinking right now. That simple act creates this little bit of space between you and the thought. It's a reminder that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who is noticing them. All right, technique number 2. This one feels a little weird at first, but it works. It's called scheduling your worry time. So when a worry pops into your head at, say, 10 in the morning, don't try to fight it. Just acknowledge it and postpone it. Tell your brain, hey, thanks for the reminder. I'll deal with that at 4:30. And then you actually put it in your calendar. When 4:30 rolls around, you sit down for a set amount of time, say 30 minutes, and you get it all out on paper, never in your head. This trains your brain that it doesn't need to nag you all day long. So once you've gotten better at noticing the loop and putting some boundaries on it, the next level is to get really good at actively redirecting your mind when those thoughts show up anyway. And a really cool way to think about this is to imagine you've got a remote control for your brain. When you notice that old, familiar, unhelpful worry channel is playing on a loop, you just consciously grab that remote, click the button, and change the channel.
See, you're not trying to turn the TV off. That's impossible. You're just making an active choice to watch something better.
So, what channel are you changing to? Well, one of the most powerful things you can do is change the type of questions you're asking yourself. Overthinking loves these useless why questions, like, why am I such a failure? Or why can't I get anything right? Those questions have no real answer, they're just a trap. Instead, you're going to switch to actionable what questions. What is one small step I can take right now? Or what is one thing I can do for my mental health today? This flips you from feeling helpless into taking action. You can even take it a step further. Instead of just distracting yourself from the worry, you can actively point your brain towards something that actually matters to you. Ask yourself a bigger, better question. What do I want my life to be about? When you focus on your core values, like creativity or kindness or adventure, it gives all that mental energy a positive and meaningful place to go, instead of just letting it spin in circles. So, what does all this add up to? The noticing, the scheduling, the redirecting. What's the big picture here? Well, ultimately, it's about completely changing the relationship you have with your own thoughts. And this, right here, is probably the most important thing I want you to take away from all this. Overthinking is not your identity. It is not who you are. It is simply a mental habit that you learned at some point, probably as a way to try and keep yourself safe. And the best news in the world is that because it's a learned habit, you have all the power you need to learn new ones to replace it.
So, I want to leave you with this amazing quote from the Dalai Lama. It's like the ultimate logic test for your worries. He said, "If there is no solution to the problem, then don't waste time worrying about it. If there is a solution to the problem, then don't waste time worrying about it." It just cuts right through all the noise, doesn't it? Either way, your energy is better spent elsewhere, either on accepting what you can't change or on taking action. So, the next time you're caught in that loop, just ask yourself, is this thinking actually leading me to a solution, or am I just chewing the cud?